You're listening to episode 359 of the Membership Geeks podcast, and it is time once again for us to take that journey as we go behind the membership. Let's do this.
You're listening to the Membership Geeks podcast, bringing you proven practical tips and advice from the leading experts on growing a successful membership business each and every week. And now here are your hosts, Mike Morrison and Callie Willows.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to this episode. I am Callie Willows, and I am joined by my co-host, Mike Morrison.
Oh, you've been waiting forever to tag me with that co-host label.
I got it in there, slipped it in.
You did. I humbly accept my role today as co-host as opposed to lead host, lead anchor, because this is your show. This is what you're absolutely best at, going behind the membership with a fantastic membership owner. What's going on this week? Who are we talking to?
Yes, I absolutely love talking with our members about their membership journey. And this week I got the chance to sit down with Scott Miller from IT Rockstars to talk all about his membership journey so far. And one of the things I loved most about my chat with Scott is just how differently he's doing certain things to most membership owners, like having a one person per area cap on who can join the membership.
So he's actually capping members based on their geographical areas. That's a really interesting approach. That makes me think of BNI immediately. But you think that would limit growth. But I know I've not listened to this yet.
How dare you?
I know. Well, I like to listen to it and give my actual real thought. So you'd think that would limit growth, but you're giving me a look that suggests that that's not going to be the case. I'm really, really interested because I know that IT Rockstars is thriving.
Yeah, it's a thriving membership site, and all while Scott works a full-time job as well. And I love features that he includes, like it's a really easy sign-up process despite that cap. He makes it really easy for people to still join directly from the website. But he also has a great onboarding experience, including things like personal calls, a welcome box that he sends out, really great touches that make it a great membership experience. Yeah,
and you mentioned that Scott's got a full-time job too. And I know, obviously, Scott's one of our members. He's inside the community at Membership Academy. So I know he's killing it with IT Rockstars. So I'm going to be particularly interested to hear about how Scott manages the membership alongside his job and why he still keeps that job in the first place, whether his membership's making him more money than his salary. I don't know if that's too personal a thing to get into, but that's going to be really, really interesting. And I know that, there's definitely people in our audience who are balancing a membership alongside a job. So that's going to be fascinating to look at Scott's thought process around going all in. Is he going to go all in? Is there a reason that he hasn't yet? That's going to be an interesting thing. I'm looking forward to this one, Callie.
Yeah, definitely. So let's hear the story from Scott himself and go behind the membership. Today, I'm going behind the membership with Scott Miller from IT Rockstars. Welcome to the show, Scott.
Thank you very much for having me on, Callie. I really appreciate the time here today. I don't know what I've done to get on here, but I'm actually. I told you before we start recording, I'm nervous about this. So thanks for having me on.
Oh, don't be nervous. I'll be gentle. I promise. I'm excited to hear more about your membership journey so far, though. So to get us started, could you give us a little bit of an overview of what the membership actually is and who it's for?
So the membership is IT Rockstars is the name of the membership, and it wasn't actually a membership to start. It provides basically marketing material for IT companies. So I used to work in an IT company. I run my own IT companies, and basically IT companies they refer to themselves as MSPs in the space, managed service provider, and they support other small, medium-sized businesses. And one of the things that most IT companies fail at incredibly is marketing their business. And it was one of the biggest pain points in my own business and one of the biggest pain points I had when I was working for other IT companies. So we help transform IT companies in the way that they market their business. That's kind of what we do within the membership. And we do that through various ways that we can get into over the course of this interview. But that's who we service. The markets, there's probably around about 7,000 MSPs in the UK, globally. close to over 100,000 MSPs globally, and they are all coming off the back of the pandemic at the moment. So they had to support all of these businesses that went into a work from home environment, and now they're all coming out of that work from home environment. So they've all got spare cash. So I'm here to help them utilize that spare cash and get even more of it. So hopefully that makes sense to your listeners and what we do.
And you mentioned there that it didn't start off as a membership. So how did this come about then?
So as I mentioned, one of the biggest pain points I had when I was working for another IT company was the marketing. So I'm very much an engineer. So I was the person that would support the IT in businesses. So if there was a problem, I was the engineer that would go and fix, or I was the person setting up the servers, that type of stuff. And I looked at the older engineers that are maybe 5 or 10 years experience on me, and I thought, they can only get so far doing that. So I went into sales, and that was a real challenge for me because I actually had to go out and come out of the server room and actually start speaking to people in the real world. So it was a huge challenge for me at the time. And the problem I had with it was when I went into the sales environment for this IT company, a really good one was in front of a business owner or someone that was looking for IT services, and explaining what we did and how we could support their business and all of the cool technology solutions we could provide. But the problem I had was actually finding people in the first place. So it was a really big pain point there about finding people that were looking for IT services. So when I came out of that sales position, I did it for a couple of years, I decided I want to follow my passion. And my passion at the time was actually SEO. It was search engine optimization. I'd always been doing it on the side. It was a little hobby that I had. It was affiliate marketing. I used to rank companies to the top. I ranked my own break-fix laptop repair company to the top of Google. And I thought, okay, I'm going to start up this agency, an SEO agency for managed service providers. And I quickly realized after speaking to someone else in the space that maybe more of a subscription model or membership model, which I finally found out about, was probably the better way to go with it, because a lot of your listeners probably know about agencies and the structure of them and just the amount of resources that are required for them. And I thought, I want to do it a lot bit differently, and I want to sort of productize the services that we have. So originally it was going to be SEO, but then we moved over to this sort of membership model, subscription model. And it wasn't actually for probably a year or two in before I found out about you guys, the membership geeks.
So how long ago did you actually launch the membership now then?
It was January 2019. So just over 3 years ago, we launched. I had built up an audience prior to that. I'd written a book. It was called Bear Attack SEO for Managed Service Providers. And the prior year, when my daughter was born, I thought I need to do something to get out of the day job. And I thought, okay, I'll write this book, take all the knowledge that I had of SEO, and wrote the book. And I built an audience for that. And then, that was 2018, 2019, kind of leveraged that audience with the membership. So it's just over 3 years now.
And does the membership have quite a focus on SEO still, or is it branched out from just the SEO?
Yeah, it's very much branched out. So we pivoted away from SEO because SEO is one factor in your marketing, but it's one of these things that it takes a long time. It takes a lot of work, and it's not. There's easier wins within marketing than SEO. So it's one of our splinter courses now within our membership at IT Rockstars. But we have kind of, as I say, pivoted away from SEO, and it's really to try and deliver for our members that join us at IT Rockstars what's going to get them up to speed with their marketing quickly and able for them to transform what they're doing in their business from a marketing perspective. So there's much quicker wins than SEO.
And so what are you providing your members with every month?
So we provide them with white label content that they can use. We lock down by sort of local areas. So here in the UK, we've got council borough. In the States, we've got county. So one IT company per location can sign up to our membership, and we provide them with white label marketing material. So this is content that's written in a way that helps them it positions those IT business owners as technology leaders in the local marketplace. So there's the content, as I say, there's written articles, there's blog posts, there's templated newsletters, there's also videos. So there's a number of white label content. I don't want to bore you with what that is, but that's the content. But we also have there's obviously the content pack that our members get every month. And we've been doing it for 3 years plus. We've got a big archive that our members can go into. We have a little bit of a roadmap as well. It's like, okay, how to actually use this content. So it's very much like the Membership Geeks and your roadmap. It's like, okay, we've got all this great stuff. Here's how to actually implement it.
Awesome. And so I would like to touch on a couple of things there. First of all, what made you decide to put a cap on the kind of the area cap on, so that obviously that's kind of going to limit how much you can grow there if there's just one person per area? What was the reasoning behind that?
The initial reasoning was I'd seen a competitor in the space, someone with a very similar model to me, doing exactly this. There is two elements to it. The first element is if you're providing marketing material, white label marketing material, to a IT business that's operating in a local marketplace, you don't really want to be another IT company using that same material. So it's so that you don't have 10 IT companies all using the same marketing material, all going to the same market with that same marketing material. So that's the main reason behind it. So that there's no clash there. There are other in the space. There's cheaper or almost free marketing material that you can get, but you'll find that 9 out of 10 IT businesses are using that stuff, and it just doesn't work well if you're trying to go after these small to medium-sized businesses. If they're seeing the same type of marketing material from the same different IT businesses. So that's the first reason. Second reason is actually for the purpose of scarcity. So, if you're located in a certain location, you can actually lock that location down so none of your competitors can get in. So, and that's one of the reasons that our membership's probably grown to what it has at the moment.
And so how, from a practical point of view, how are you actually managing that? Are people having to apply to the membership rather than just being able to go to the website and sign up straight away?
Yeah, so we have like a location checker on the homepage at itrockstars.net. So you put in your zip code or your postcode there, and our little hamster goes and checks the database to make sure that that location's not taken. If it is taken, then you're added to a wait list.
Awesome. I love that. And what's the price point for the membership?
It's $149 a month. I had at the time when 3 years ago when I was setting this up, I was like, I had a hard time because I'm based in the UK and I'm like, do I price it in pounds? Do I price it in dollars? What do I price it in? And I went with dollars because at the time that's where the largest market is, but everyone's used to buying stuff online in dollars. So yeah, $149 a month.
So I'd love to know then, you've had the membership for 3 years now. It's 2022, isn't it? Yeah. Brain struggle with the maths there.
Yeah, there's 2 years almost that don't count though, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly. It's just
kind of fuzzy.
Still 2020, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what would you say has been your biggest challenge during that time, do you think?
Probably is my time. So as I think we mentioned before, I kind of signed up for this Callie's interview, was that IT Rockstars is very much, it's a full-time thing for me. However, I have another full-time thing. So I'm employed as well. So I have like a day job, but I'm doing this as well in the evenings and weekends. So that is probably the biggest thing for me. When I started it at the time, it was actually something really fun to be doing. Now it's a little bit different 3 years on and doing the same thing. So that's been the biggest challenge, is the time with it. You think just start up a membership, so it's going to be easy, but there's actually a lot to it that you need to get right, and it takes time to get that right.
So I'd love to explore that then. How are you actually managing both the full-time job and the membership essentially being a full-time extra job?
I've got a very patient wife, Callie. So they actually complement each other. So the day job, I'm working in IT, so I have almost like, I'm still in the cold face. I know what the problems are that businesses face from an IT perspective, and I can translate that into the content for our members at IT Rockstars. So the depth of the knowledge in the content, you can't get anywhere else, because there's that experience within the content. But it is very much a juggling act. So, I'm working, the 9 to 5, and then evenings and weekends, I'm on IT Rockstars. I have leveraged certain things online that make this much easier for us at IT Rockstars, and the wife and another couple of people also help out in the business as well. And then that just helps me with my time. I think what I found when I was doing this, when I first started, is I had to be very aware of what I was good at and what I was terrible at, and making sure that anything that I struggled with, that I just outsourced to someone else. And because I've kept, I've got the full-time job as well, I was able to do that at the start. I still had a little bit of cash to be able to do that. So that's kind of how I've managed it up to this point.
So what does the team look like behind this, as well as yourself then?
So we've got we've got 2 other content writers. They're very much outsourced. There's my wife, Jackie, and she was able to, when we got the membership up to a certain size, the first thing that I did at that point was ask her if she wanted to, leave her employment and come and work for IT Rockstars. So she actually helps out a lot of the admin tasks and bookkeeping as well. And there's graphics designers too. So there's various elements to this. Most of it is outsourced, but it's very much a husband and wife team at this point.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of those, as you know.
I didn't know that. We are finding it difficult at the moment, though, because we've got our daughter who's 3 years or turning 4, and then we've just had another baby like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, congratulations!
So things are probably going to change at some point, because she's not able to help out with the admin and the bookkeeping. So it's like, watch this space and what happens. So
yeah, I think adding kids into the mix there definitely adds that extra complication.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it was easy with one, but now that we've got 2, it's just slightly different. I kind of wish I'd just stuck to having cats.
Yeah, I'm team cats. So what has been your favorite thing or the highlight about having the membership? What's made it all worthwhile for you?
I think, well, as I said previously, that initial being able to ask my wife if she wanted to leave her job. And because she was able to do that, she was able to bring up her daughter, for the last 3+ years, and wasn't having to drop her off at daycare or granny and granddad's while she went out to work. And it was on her terms. So that's the biggest thing for us in our life that's changed because of that. The thing I love about the membership model is the scalability of it. And I mentioned this already. You're employed in a job, you can really only go so far in that job. Whereas with a membership site, and this is the biggest thing for me, is being able to see how far I could actually take this if I put the time into it. So that's the biggest thing for me, is the possibility with it.
Love that. And is the plan that you will eventually transition to this being the only full-time thing you're doing, or would you like to always kind of keep your finger on the pulse with the job as well?
I think I'd like to keep my finger on the pulse with the job as well, maybe not full time, because it really is helpful. And the organization that I work for is just amazing what they do. So yeah, there is that element. But I think actually what will happen is I'll probably start up another membership site. I've got an idea in my head for another membership site that I want to pull off of one of my friends. And I think it's something that's I haven't seen in the market. So the plan is actually another membership site too.
Oh, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I can tell you more about that. So yeah, my friend, he's got he's like a film editor, producer, director, and he's got a whole team behind him, and he's had films on like Netflix and Redbox and things like that. And I'm thinking to myself, there's all these struggling filmmakers that are trying to get onto these platforms. Let's make a membership site about that. I think that's maybe a bigger one. That'd be a more fun one as well. The IT Rockstars is very professional. It's aimed at business owners for business owners. And I think one about movies and how to get into the movie industry is just something that I kind of like the allure of. So that's potentially the future, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'll keep my eye out for that, because that sounds fun. Switching gears a little bit now, though, what do you find is working well for you when it comes to marketing the membership and getting new sales? So you mentioned about that kind of scarcity with having the cap on one person per region. how are you actually getting people to the site in the first place?
There's a number of ways that we do that. So we have elements of search engine optimization. As I say, that's just because that's something that I'm good at. So ranking some of our content in the search engines. Content marketing is probably a really big one for us. And the books that I've written around the subject matter, they obviously attract people in. We partner up with other vendors in the space, other communities in the space, and people in the space that are looked up to. So there's a number of partnerships that we get in. One of the biggest struggles that I've got at the moment, though, is actually, we get members in the door, but it's one of the things I go back to. I think it was one of your questions on your list was, if I were to do it all over again, what would I change? When I was starting, and it would be actually tracking how people are coming into us. For me at the moment, we had to go and get something built. I've got 3 years worth of data that we haven't been tracking. So we're only just now tracking how people are coming into us at the membership. So I think that's maybe like a little tip for anyone that's starting out, is like, make sure you track how people are joining you. Ask that question when they join, where they heard you from. So that's one of the biggest things for me. But as I say, content marketing is the big one. That's how we get members in. And I am a massive fan of retargeting pixels on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all those places. And we basically just use our content again in those retargeting ads. So that's how we build up the funnel.
Awesome. And you mentioned partnerships there as well. Is that a case of simply having people be affiliates for you, or how are those partnerships working?
It's probably like more going to their audience. So I give examples of there's many software vendors in the IT space, and they're all looking for new customers as well. So it's quite common in the IT space in that sort of channel. It's called the IT channels, where the vendors operate and the services operate. They do pieces together. So I'm going to be on a webinar next week with one of these vendors, and so we're leveraging each other's audience there, because I'm going to be a guest, so they get access. I get access to their audience, and then they get access to my audience just through the means of promotions. So that's what I mean by those partnerships. There are other people in the space as well. It's how I heard about the Membership Geeks. When I had the membership, I didn't even know I had a membership at the time. I only found out about you guys through Retain Live. There's a guy called Richard Tubb, who I believe is quite local to you.
Yes,
and he operates in the IT space, and people like Richard, everyone looks up to. So being sort of well connected to those people can definitely help. And when I heard Richard was going to Retain Live, and I heard what Retain Live was actually about, I was like, I need to go here. It wasn't to meet you guys, it was to meet Richard. And there's actually someone else in the space, a guy called Carl Palachuk in the US,
yes,
who has a community as well. And it was only because they were going, I'm like, I need to meet these guys, let's go to this event. And that's when I heard about the Membership Geeks and what you've helped me with. So I'd love to go into a little bit of that as well.
Also, I didn't actually realize that was how you first came across us. And I remember Retain Live, but I didn't realize that was kind of your first foray into our world, essentially. It
was. And then I started listening to the podcast, and I just got so much value in the podcast. I can't believe I'm on it now. That's why I'm nervous. But there's so much value there. And then, obviously joined, and I've learned so much since then. And I think one of the things for me, and going back again to what I would do differently, and I've only figured this out over the last couple of years, is because I already had that sort of marketing background, getting the members was almost like the easy bit. The hard bit was actually the retention. And I think that's something that you guys have certainly helped me with what's available in the Membership Site Academy.
So what are you doing for retention then? What are you doing to keep those numbers up?
So there's a number of things that we do. So like when someone onboards, we have like an onboarding sequence. So when someone joins us, a brand new member joins us, the first thing that happens is I get a little notification on my phone. There's an app called Bonjuro. I send them a little personalized video, just welcoming along, easing them into the membership, making sure that they've got their login details. So that's the first thing that we do. We found that if we set up an onboarding call with all of our members that join, they're far more likely to stick around with us. So as soon as that they put their credit card details in and hit the buy button, they're presented with an onboarding call schedule. So they have to schedule in time with us. naturally so that we can find out more about their business. Once they've scheduled in, they've done the onboarding call, then we actually send them out a welcome pack, a physical box in the mail. So these are some of the elements, but we've also got software at IT Rockstars to help our members, and that makes our members more sticky.
So I'd love to know a little bit more then. What are you sending out in that welcome pack to people?
My books. As I say, there's a couple of books that I've written. I'm in the third book now. We also have a little bit of a checklist on here's what you need to be doing in the next 30 days. And this is something that I learned from a book that I recently read about how to, what's the word I'm looking for? Get your members to retention point. The book's called Retention Point. And it's all about the beliefs that your members need to believe in for them to stick around in your membership. So it's helping them through those beliefs, but also some of the quick wins that they can do in their IT business that's going to help them attract more business in.
Awesome. And so I would love to know, what's the overall impact been of having a membership on your life and business?
As I said, Jack is my wife. She's been able to sort of leave our full-time employment. We've, since lockdown, we managed to move house. We were in a one-bedroom flat in the centre of Aberdeen. We're now out in a place called Huntly, a little town, and with this really big house, which I'm now questioning, like, because of the crazy energy prices. I'm like, maybe this wasn't the greatest move, but it's like this old Victorian house that looks great, but the gas prices. But that's probably the biggest change. It's almost like the reason we went with this house because it's lockdown friendly. So it's like, if there's ever any in a lockdown, there's a huge garden, plenty of space. So I think that's like the biggest change for us, and just being able to design our life a little bit. I think maybe it is a lifestyle business, and a lot of people, when you tell other businesses what you do, I've got a lifestyle business, they kind of look down at you, but they don't actually realize that this is a modern lifestyle business. It's not like running a hotel or a restaurant. It's very much something that you can scale, globally. So I think that's the biggest thing for me, is being able to design my life a little bit, or my family's life a little bit around the membership.
And so is there any advice that you would give to somebody who's either thinking about starting a membership, or maybe they've just started one and they're still in those early days?
Yeah, so part of the membership site academy, you have these growth huddles, and I met up with 3 or 4 other people, membership site owners in there, and we've been kind of meeting out with the membership geeks for the last year now. And what's become apparent to me, it's very much easy to get lost in setting up your membership and the technology that goes around setting up your membership. So my biggest tip for if you're thinking about setting up a membership site is get a sales page up, or get a sales page, and then see what your marketplace will actually think of that sales page. Will anyone actually go and click the join this membership button? Because I think that's almost like the very first thing you need to do before you go and get lost in all of the technical stuff that you need to do to run a membership site, creating the content as well. So it's the biggest thing for me, and it's what I did as well. Just making sure that what you think is a good idea actually aligns with what the marketplace wants. So do that thing first.
Yeah, get that wait list up.
Exactly, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So as we wrap up then, I'd love to know what the future looks like for IT Rockstars. So I know we touched on this a little bit with you mentioning about maybe starting another membership, but for IT Rockstars itself, the membership, what are your goals there?
So I'd love to get to 1,000 members with it. That's like the ultimate goal for me. I'd be quite happy with half that number. That's like one of the biggest goals. But I think some of the goals I have for our members within the membership at IT Rockstars is how to make it easier for them to acquire new business. One of the biggest issues that IT business owners have is just time in the day to be able to market their business. And we've solved some of that at IT Rockstars with the content, with the tools that we use. But I know that there's more that we can do to help them and transform what they're doing in their business and how they're attracting customers in. So we have this goal in mind, but it's very much a long-term thing for us as well. So this is almost like a retirement plan for me, IT Rockstars. So I see it going for 10, 15 years. There, of course, as I mentioned, there probably will be another membership site as well. That will be a hobby that will turn into the full-time gig. So that's the plans with it.
Awesome. That sounds great. And I'm really looking forward to watching as you achieve that. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me today, Scott, and telling us a little bit about your journey and your progress so far. And for anyone listening who would like to find out more or maybe to connect with you, where's the best place for them to do that?
Check out itrockstars.net, or you can email me at scott@itrockstars.co.uk.
Awesome. Big thank you once again to Scott from IT Rockstars for joining me on this week's episode.
Yeah, that was a fascinating conversation with Scott. You know, one of the things I know we touched on, like we talked in the intro about, the having the job and the thought process around that. One of the things that I loved from Scott's story is that once the membership was making money, kind of top priority, one of the first things he did was bring his wife on board full time so she could quit her job, even though he's still working his.
Yeah, I love that it's become a family business. And not only that, but it's also allowed them the freedom to buy a big house in the country so that they can provide a better lifestyle and be more available to their young children. In fact, they've just had a brand new baby 2 weeks ago.
Awesome. Congratulations to Scott and the IT Rockstars familiar. I'll be familiar. I got slip into, that is Italian, isn't it? A familiar? That's Spanish.
Yeah. Familiar. I thought you were saying familiar as in which is familiar.
No, they're very, very different minds. So, we're all about creating that life you want and how memberships can enable you to do that, not just for yourself, but for your loved ones too. And yeah, that's really what it's all about at the end of the day. So it's wonderful to see how that's played out for Scott. And I love he's already brewing up ideas for another membership too.
Yeah, I'll be keeping my eye out for that. It sounds like quite a fun one.
Yeah, I think that, he's probably already kind of training up the new arrival to take over that one.
Membership or in training.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. That was another fantastic journey behind the membership. Big thank you once again to Scott for sitting down with Callie for that frank and in-depth look at his journey.
Yeah, always a pleasure.
It is. All right. That is it from us. We will be back again next week with another installment of the Membership Geeks podcast. If you enjoyed this week's episode of the Membership Geeks podcast, we invite you to check out membershipacademy.com. Membership Academy is the original membership about memberships, and it's the essential resource for anyone at any stage of starting, growing, and running a successful online membership business. Whether you're still trying to figure out what your idea is going to be and you need some help making it a reality, or whether your website is already up and running and you're looking for ways to grow and attract new members, then Membership Academy can help you to get to the next level. Not only do you get access to our step-by-step membership roadmap, our extensive training library, and exclusive member-only discount and tools, you'll also become part of our supportive, active community of membership owners that will help you along the way in your journey with feedback, encouragement, and advice. All of this and more make Membership Academy the #1 place to be for anyone looking to start, manage, and grow a successful membership business. Check it out and join the community at membershipacademy.com.